All right. Yeah, Pat, you were given bad advice. Bad advice before the Wolves Oklahoma City game. No
Well,
faith.
I probably should have paid more attention to the way Oklahoma City's playing. If they just lost to Detroit, maybe they're having the same problems our boys are. Because the first half last night, now I think both teams were guarding the hell out of each other, but the first half last night was really ugly. And then the Timberwolves had that nice little run at the stretch, what 9-0, and won the ball game. And I got a lot of heat from people for ripping Ant for whining after the dunk. That he was crying that he got fouled. And I
It's
just
pretty
don't want
bad.
another one of those guys on the court. You just made a dunk that's basically won the game for you. Don't go over and start screaming at the referees. Just, after the game, say, hey, that guy hacked me on it. He's getting too hard on the referees, and we don't need two of those guys who never get a call now, right?
So
But
he
it is
said,
it is weird though that like other players get the assumed foul and he gets hammered on plays
Yes,
and doesn't get a sniff
yes,
on
but
that.
screaming doesn't do any good about it. Screaming is not going to change it. We saw what happens when you scream at the end of the Charlotte game when Cat got hacked a lot worse than Ant did going to the basket last night with a second and a half to go. And they said, let her go, Cat. You've been whining for years. You're not going to get a call from us. So last night, I actually looked up the fouls, and they were 21-19 for San Antonio. For Oklahoma City. Now, they might add a couple at the end to do that, but they shot more free throws. And there's no doubt that the SGA or whatever his name is gets a lot. He gets the benefit of the doubt. He must never complain. He must just take what they give him. Right? He's a great defender too. I heard. I had the privilege of being in the car for a little bit and hearing Alan Horton because it was one of the rare games where they actually on the radio.
It was on the big stick. Yeah.
And I was driving around in the first half, and he was telling about the metrics that they've developed now for one-on-one guarding people. And he's one of the best in the league at that too. So he's
Yeah. No, he's legitimately just a top 5 player in the league. It's pretty
how
incredible.
can he not be considered as MVP though? Because he's not a big lug scoring 50 once in a while. I mean, it's got to be.
He should be in the running. Yeah.
Yes, he should. He's great. But hey, that was a nice win, and that was a great play by Ann at the end of Duncan. And it was interesting rotation too that they let Walker out. Alexander Walker handle the ball as much as he did, and he doesn't score, but he did okay, and he defends. He was guarding his cousin most of the game, I guess, when he was on the court.
he's the best one against him.
Huh?
He's the best defender against Shea.
Yeah, he's a good perimeter defender, probably the best, by far the best they have. And he had McDaniels had a good night too, guarding people. So they shut down Holmgren completely. He had 4 points, something like that.
Yeah, he had 4 points.
He tries to do a lot of stuff, but if they let you muscle him a little bit, he's going to be in trouble because he weighs 180 pounds at 7'2" or something. So you can push him around, but that's maybe it'll get him straightened out now. You're going to miss Conley for a while, but I guess their solution to a backup point guard is not to have one and let Alexander Walker handle the ball.
Well, McLaughlin was really good last night too.
Yeah.
He was like 4 for 4, I think, in that game, and hit a couple big shots. But you can't play him for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and you worry about him staying healthy too because he hasn't had that track record of staying healthy. But it's happening all over the league. When you look, it's like the NFL, man. I mean, the NFL, they're missing 4 or 5 of their starters. Here, you miss one, it's the same difference. And a lot of teams getting hurt. My Knicks, who, by the way, are 13-2 this month, and if they win tonight against Utah at home, they'll have the best record for a month in Knicks history.
Wow.
But they don't have Randall dislocated his shoulder, and he's out. And I think the guy they just got from Toronto got hurt last night too, who's been playing great for them. So they're going to run into the same situation. And plus, Tibbs plays that Brunson into the ground, man. He's up 19 last night, and Brunson's still out there with 5 minutes to go. I was watching a little bit of that too. So, but yeah, it's happening all over the league. Guys getting banged up. It just, you just hope it's not 2 weeks. You just hope it's 3 to 8 games or something like that.
Yeah. These two teams, by the way, the Oklahoma City and the Timberwolves, they chirp back and forth on Instagram and stuff. At one point, I think it was after their last win, it was sometime early this year, Chet Holmgren had commented on some Instagram post, "This is what movies are made of," mocking Cat from last year. It's good, man. These are, who would have saw this coming as one of the big Western Conference rivalries, but it's coming down the pipe.
It's going to be up to the Timberwolves to stick with it, because this Oklahoma City team is young, and now when are they going to have to pay the max to the SGA? When do they have to pay the max, or SAG, or whatever the hell is it?
It's SGA, Shea Gilgeous-Alexander.
SGA.
Yeah.
He's an yeah, that's right. He's Alexander at the back, and our Alexander's in the middle, right? That's the difference there. We got a Na and an SGA.
It's a lot of hyphens, a lot of letters. Yeah, a lot of consonants.
They're going to have to pay him the super max here pretty soon, because he's going to be all NBA first team, and that means you're going to get the huge amount of money. That'll hurt him a little bit. It's funny, they had that great team. They took it apart, and now people stopped coming to the games for a couple of years. They had nobody at the games, and then now they're back on the bandwagon. Did you notice this about those hillbillies, though? Oklahoma City and places like that, they boo the officials more than any place. It's like these smaller markets. Utah's that way. These outposts of the NBA, they're the greatest booers of the officials of anybody. They think they're getting robbed at all times. But this team would be drawn good in Seattle, don't you think?
They would. Well, think about, so I think it's been now 15 years that Sam Presti has been running that front office.
Yeah.
He was with the Spurs for the early 2000s, so he was in that like 2000 to like 2008, but he built up the first version, like you said, with Durant and James Harden and Russell Westbrook, and to now be building up another Western Conference powerhouse. And no one really talks about him outside of hardcore NBA people. I don't know that Sam Presti is a household name or not, but
and when they Harden was a sixth man there, and when they traded him, everybody, then he came this great offensive player, and everybody ripped the Oklahoma City for getting rid of him, but then we found out he was an idiot. So once he stopped being the sixth man, then he became crazy. So who's going to be the flop of this season? The Suns. Booker's getting 50 a game, and they're not winning.
How about that? So Booker and Karl Anthony Towns, couple of good old pals.
Yes,
dropping 60 points and losing in the last week.
Well, I was thinking the other night, he got 50 and Durant got 15. How long do you think Durant's going to take that? With his ego, he's a very sensitive fella.
In a losing effort, it's not going to fly.
Yeah, that's not going to work too well. But hey, good win, and I might have been, lucky that I never
You cost the guy his house.
Right.
Some guy tweeted you, "Thanks a lot. I just left the casino."
His house. I said, "I owe you a beer."
He had to walk home. He lost his house, car, wife, dog. He's a country song.
That's right. I've done that before. I think one of my real insurances was when the Vikings were going to beat the Eagles in the NFC Championship game. Go, everything you got, go over there and bet on.
Vikings expert telling Mel Kiper, "Put the house on this game."
Mel. Don't try to tell me about football. This is going to be an ass kick, and the Vikings are going to name the score against this collection. Yeah, that didn't work out. So, anyway.
Did you give him your top 5 quarterback prospect rankings on that episode too? And another thing, Mel, you've got your quarterbacks out of order.
That's right. I haven't looked at Mel's big board yet. Where's he have the quarterbacks these days?
He put his 1.0 mock out last week, and we did go over it.
Williams 1, Drake made 2, and the kid from LSU 3. Is that basically it?
Yeah, he went pretty chalk heavy here. Yeah, I don't have it in front of me, but he puts the first one out now, and then he'll do another one around the combine.
So, and they got rid of the other guy, right? McShay. They got rid of him. ESPN got rid of him.
They did not renew his contract.
So that was probably Mel calling that shot, right? I don't think Mel likes sharing the center stage. Do you?
Well, Todd also he went through some health issues too. Oh, okay. He had to take a leave at one point, and there were some things going on there with Todd.
Okay. Well, you could see the rivalry sometimes when they started bickering about certain, like, 14th overall draft choices or something like that.
Todd.
Mel won it though, Patrick. You're exactly right. Mel said, "Get this punk out of here. It's my mock draft.
It's my thing." And
bleep him. Exactly.
I don't work to keep this hairdo, this color, this hard at this stage of my life to have some other punk coming in here and trying to push me out of the side. Damn it.
Yeah. Get out of the house that Mel built, you guy.
Okay.
Jorge Polanco traded to the Seattle Mariners.
I think we talked about that yesterday, right? We figured that they were going to try to move him because they got Julian and they got Brooks Lee, and they're in good shape for middle infielders. And they got Correa signed forever. And people talk about Correa moving to third. Yeah, that'd be smart. Let's take the best shortstop in the game and move him to third base.
No.
What the hell are you talking about? But anyway, why do they want another bad arm pitcher, though? I suppose they had to take him for those people to take Polanco's salary, huh?
You're talking about DeSclafani?
Yeah,
he was
2 years ago he was good. The last 2 years he's been hurt. Their track record with injured pitchers. Does the name Malley come to mind? Does the name Homer Bailey come to mind?
They're paying like $4 million here, though, Pat. It's not that much. I think the Giants keep part of the salary, and Seattle agreed to as well. So I think that's the.
Yeah, I think it's more.
They still cut salary by doing.
They probably like the relief pitcher, and maybe one of the prospects is pretty good.
They do. Justin Topa is the relief pitcher. He was really good for them. He was kind of a late bloomer. He was in the minor leagues for 10 years. I think the centerpiece of the deal is actually the 19-year-old outfielder Gabriel Gonzalez, who he's like a top 75 prospect on MLB.com. He's at high A, so he'll be up in a couple years.
Yeah, that's about the time Buck's Ironman efforts in center field are coming to an end. We might have another center fielder there. But I mean, that's not. Jorge was a really good player here. He's an all-star starter one year. I remember, Phil, you were probably in spring training the year he popped a positive on steroids, weren't you? Were you there that year?
I think Wetmore was down there for that.
Shocked the living bejeebers out of all of us that this quiet guy over here was taking vitamins, but he missed half that season, and really quiet guy. It's amazing that he and Miguel grew up a mile apart, played ball together as kids, were good friends. There couldn't be two different personalities than those two guys. I mean, maybe Jorge was when he got out and with the guys, he was a party guy, but boy, when in the clubhouse, he was the quietest guy you ever saw. And he wanted to play. He was pretty much an Iron Man playing through stuff until last year. They were always talking about him being injured, but he'd play. And then he started to fade last year, missed half the season almost, didn't he? They had missed 80 games or
53.
Something. So he can hit a switch hitter, though. He's, he could have been your DH. He could have looked at it that way. But I don't think they want to get into that full-time DH thing anymore. So.
It sounds like the hope here, and this would actually be a good thing, is that if the pitcher can stay healthy, that Varland can go to the bullpen.
Yes. Yeah.
But that's a big if.
I talked to Falvey about this at the luncheon Friday beforehand. I said, Varland's a reliever. You know that, don't he? He says, well, we really like him as a reliever, but we might need him as a starter, he said. So
I like it.
Yeah, look at him. He goes.
I agree with you, but I just like the fact that you went up and told him. That's good.
Hey, just tell Rocco that it's okay to use him for 2 innings. Okay, if he comes in the 6th and he strikes out 2 guys on 14 pitches, then you can bring him back out for the 7th. That's okay. That's legal. So you can use him for 2 innings. So I want Barlin in the bullpen, but there's got to be, they got to come. You can't count on this guy. I mean, they're already saying that they were saying what he got traded to Seattle at the end of last season, right?
Yeah, like in December.
Who'd the Giants bring in the high price? Oh, Robbie Ray, in the Robbie Ray trade, and they made Seattle take the money, I suppose, and then but. I was reading stuff about him last night, and a lot of thought that he wouldn't be ready to pitch when the season started. It was an ankle injury, broken ankle or something, but the year before it was an arm injury. So.
You talking about DeSclafani?
Yeah.
That was the first.
Yeah, he has an elbow issue right now. That's
okay. Then he had
the ankle issue.
Ankle issue was the year before. He missed 2 months.
Yeah.
With a broken ankle, and then
it's just a flexor strain, you guys. Don't worry about it.
He's 100% going to need Tommy John surgery within 12 months, but at least they got a couple others.
We got good trainers. That trainer last year telling me that, telling us in that little group, he didn't think Mackey might not have to miss a start. Right then, I decided I'm never going to another one of these confabs with the trainer because he didn't pitch again the rest of the year.
So you've got right now on paper, Pablo's your number 1 starter, and then Joe Ryan's your number 2 starter. Then I guess it's probably Chris Paddock, who, by the way, if you're looking for 180 innings out of Chris Paddock, that's a stretch, right?
Yes.
And then Bailey Ober, his innings should be able to go up again this year. And then DeSclafani right now is your number 5. So 40% of your rotation, really iffy in terms of are they able to even handle an innings workload? And DeSclafani, guarantee that dude needs Tommy John, like I said, in the next 12 months.
Get a left-handed starter. I want a left-handed starter. Last year, who made the start last year in September? It was their first left-handed start in 400 games or something. Somebody started, some lefty started.
Oh, it was Keuchel, Dallas Keuchel.
Keuchel, yeah, when they got him in there. Bring him back. Let's have that slop. Why don't bring in? Let's look at that slop a little more.
Would you rather have Dallas Keuchel or Anthony DeSclafani as your number 5 starter? You have to choose only those 2 options.
I don't know anything about the other guy except I assume he'll be hurt and won't be able to pitch. So I guess I'll go with Keuchel. Yeah. I don't know what. Don't we have a? We just named some kid the minor league player of the year, Colby Lewis. He has 6 pitches. That's Corey Lewis. Let's go. Let's bring him. Why don't they? They got the young guy that made a start late last season. Who was that guy? Supposed to be a hot prospect.
Talk to Falvey, Pat.
I know.
He's your guy. You're clearly telling him. You're pulling the strings. Of course.
No, I don't pull the strings. But when I tell a guy, when I talk to a guy, I said, I kind of twist the question. You got to use Barlin as a reliever, right? That's not. So it's a question. That's a question.
Yeah, but, I like if Barlin's in the bullpen. I like their bullpen. Yeah, if Barlin's in it, I like it, and I think Justin Topa's going to be. Justin Topa's he's what they call a heavy fastball guy, hard, heavy, sinking, that Kyle Waldrop but better fastball from 10 years ago, and then Brock Stewart back and healthy, and Griffin Jack, so they've got some arms.
They do. Caleb, it'll be interesting to see how Caleb is as your lefty. The guy they got to straighten out is that Moran. They got to get, he's got a good arm, but he won't throw enough strikes. He drives you crazy. Is he still there? Did they keep him, or did they? I think they might have let him go.
He is no longer on their 40-man. No,
I think they might have let him go. Yeah, I always thought, here he comes. Then he'd walk. He'd get 2 guys out, and then walk the next 2.
Alcala's still there, and I think the last spot is between Alcala and Funderburk.
Is Funderburk still on? He's still on the 40-man.
They only have. By the way, they only have 3 lefties on their 40-man. So it's Thielbar,
really
Funderburk,
pitching,
and then Brent Hedrick is the other lefty.
No, he didn't get taken off the. Boy, that tells you how thin you are when he didn't get taken off the 40-man.
They don't have lefties.
Hey, Derek, he's not a big league pitcher, okay?
But he's left-handed, so he's.
Yeah. I could ask Derek a question like, you don't think Brett Hedrick is a big league pitcher, do you?
Do you?
You're not stupid, right?
Let's call it. It'll be a new podcast where it's called "Do You Really?" with Patrick.
Yeah, something like that. But anyway, they still need some pitching. I mean, Sonny Gray's a big loss. Now my prediction is Sonny won't get to the post as much for the Cardinals as he did, because it was very unusual for a guy to pitch that many innings. But we've talked about it before. The big thing, the big success of last season, and forget Malle, was healthy starting pitching.
Yeah.
And does that happen 2 years in a row? We'll find out.
Yep.
I guess. But hey, what the heck? We got spring training coming up, and I'm making a comeback after a 2-year absence. I went from 1974 to 2021. I missed once because of Clem's basketball team going to the sectional, the final 8. And now I missed 2 in a row. I got to get down there and get one more peek before it's all over.
Get down there. Say hi to Bill Smith and Terry Ryan, former Twins GMs. Are going to be roaming around.
Hey, LaBelle had a good column Sunday about how this is the only organization that nobody ever leaves.
It's amazing. Gardy shows up. At Twins
Gardy's
Fest.
son's the coach. Gardy got the run of the place. Molly's on the radio. It's you get fired and you just It was always that way with the poll ads and Calvin's organization too, but it was always that way with Terry Ryan, because he was connected to all these guys. You thought with these guys they might change, but these guys are still walking around. So
Pat, last week, I heard early last week at Mancini's in St. Paul, there was one table that included Terry Ryan, Bill Smith, Rob Anthony, and a couple others from the previous Twins front office. And completely separately and randomly, Joe Mauer and his wife and maybe some other family members also show up at the same time to Mancini's. Yeah.
Oh, that would have been
It's the most provincial baseball organization, baseball town you're going to find.
And Mancini's is the most St. Paul thing of all.
Yeah.
Mancini. Do you know who's running the day bar manager in there? Tim Cheetah.
There you go.
Cheetah's the day bar.
It's amazing.
And by the way,
a bunch of ball guys.
By the way, we were talking about all the guys and how close they lived to Dunning Field. The Hall of Famers.
Yeah.
Tim Cheetah lived 2 miles away from Dunning Field too. He was right in there with the Cretan boys too. So he's a Cretan guy too. So
that's amazing.
Yes, it is.
All right. Well, you got to get on your travel booking situation here. See if you can find a flight to Florida.
Go help the Twins, Pat.
Yes, and I will be talking to you from Fort Myers on Thursday.
And we'll pray for the technology.
It's going to work. It's going to work. I have full confidence.
Okay.
All right.
I like it.
All right. There he is, Reusse Unchained. Presented today by Zero Res. If you love a clean house and you love to breathe clean air in your house, maybe you should hire Zero Res. In fact, you can get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $119 right now and $75 off your air ducts getting cleaned when you ask for the Score North special. So call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com. Say you want the Score North special, and you'll get the $119 price I just said. So spell it forwards or backwards. It spells the same, Zero Res.